Hey guys, how's it going? So we are continuing the Saturn in the Amazing series. Now, what happens when a well-dignified Saturn sits in a unaffected or unafflicted second house? So what are the things? What are the five amazing things that you'd have when this happens? Now let's talk about Saturn, and then we talk about second house, and then I'll tell you all the five amazing things. Saturn, to put it very simply, it's the understandings of life in the bare basics. Okay, the clarity in life, the acceptance, the wisdom that comes with it. So you will have total understanding. The confidence is built when one has a strong Saturn, and we all know when there's confidence and clarity, there's obviously success. Right? Second house. The second house is called the Dhana Baba. Of course, when we hear Dhana, it's all about finance, money matters. But it's more than that actually. Right? The second house is a house that determines the entirety of your life. Yes. When you hear Dhana, normally, people say it's about money and charity. Dhana literally means money, right? I mean wealth, right? So the second house has that reputation. It's all about money, savings, and things like that. But some also extend like charity, speech, and all that also. But those are more superficial understanding of the house. So it is important to get into the principles of things. Very, very important. Only through principles one can sort of synthesize the reality, the truth. Okay. So the second house, as I said, is the house that gives the entirety of your life. It basically gives you the blueprint for your life's purpose. Now, one of my surveys, which I give consultation, is to understand one's life purpose. Okay, so every time when I have that request, the first house that I look at is the second house. Of course, I do look at other things like Atma Karaka, what the soul craves, and things like that. But the second house is an integral component to understand one's life purpose, because the second house has this very important structure or framework or a group of things which is so important that we often neglect that in the second house. It's very rare that I've seen astrologers decipher the second house in those aspects. What are those? Basically your values. Correct. Your values is a support system of your life. If the first house is about your dhanu, your body, right? It is. I mean, you need the body, obviously. The second is the preparation for your body. Okay, the first two houses is the bare basics, the preparations for you to walk on this path of life. Okay, so the second creates the support, and the support is from those values that you have. Now, most of us may not have these values. I mean, we have heard about it. Oh, value means some kind of honesty or determination, authenticity, truthfulness, and it's all that. Yes, fine. But how does that affect your life? Right? As I said, it's so important that it is the integral component of one's life purpose. All right. For example, what we or commonly people do, not everyone, okay, but commonly people do is they either mimic out of a preconceived notion or by conformity from an authoritative figure. When we were young, our parents might say, okay, you need to study, you need to do your homeworks, very, very important. There would not be any, they don't chuckle, they don't smile, nothing. When they talk about education, they talk about homework, they're always serious. So as children, when we look at our parents in that form, we, it's imbibed, it's etched in our mind. Okay, study seems to be a very important thing. Not sure exactly why, but apparently if you don't study well, you'll be a loser. That is the common understanding. So that gets as part of your sort of subconscious value. Okay, we need to be more determined in life. We need to put more effort in life, these sort of things. And then once you move on, where you won't have the authoritative nudge, is when you go in a certain age where you need to, get married. So you look at that and you feel that, oh, okay, looks like everybody is getting married. Seems like the right thing to do. Why? And is it the right thing to do? That may be a secondary question. If you see that many people are doing it, might as well just do it. That kind of thing. Or if you ask, maybe it's a social obligation. There you go. So I have to do it. Again, preconceiving certain notions, mimicking others. That's it. Maybe you go to a job and you realize people gravitate towards people who have the dollars and rupees, right? Oh, looks like money is a big thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to earn my money. Okay, I'm start to, create assets and wealth and all that, so that I would get the same respect or happiness in a very delusional way, right? And then towards your midlife, probably you see someone running in the park, people doing workouts. Everything is about exercises. So you gravitate towards that, right? You mimic. You say, okay, looks like everyone is doing. There must be something good about it. Okay, let's go into health then, right? Let's mimic that. Let's go into diets, schedules, weight loss, keto plans, whatnot. And then towards the golden age, everybody talks about the obvious thing, which is the path to righteousness and spirituality, religion, and those sort of things. And of course, we go through that as well. So life seems to be an adaptation of either an authoritative conformity or a preconceived notion, normally without much of a substantiation. It's just you think that this is the right thing. So it doesn't have something genuine. I'm not saying to all, I'm saying to most of us, right? It has this sequence based on a certain trigger which we assume is the right thing. Now all that happens, right, at the end, it's not bad. There's no right or wrong in anything, guys, right? Life is subjective. Okay, there's no right and wrong. But there is a slight problem with that methodology. When we adapt and we do things, when we see and we accept things without really going into the details, is that we may have this void, that sense of devoid, something which is missing inside us. There's always this sense of restlessness. You are never contented, right? Because it is not truly from you. It is from an external factor. Do you understand? So this is where values comes in. Values is ingrained, it's within you, it's innate, right? It's intrinsic, right? That means that whenever you act upon that, maybe you won't have that sequence as I mentioned, right? Studies, getting a job, marriage, and health, spirituality may not have that sequence. But it will go through a natural way which you will find happiness and peace. So values is essentially so important. Sorry to drag a lot on this second house, but we can go more but let's just stop here now. So second house is all about values, about things that you think what is the most important thing in your life. Okay, so putting these two together, Saturn and the second house, what do you get? Number one is creativity, right? Synthesizing things. As you go through in life, you will become very creative. Okay, you tend to adapt your life in a situation based on how things are being reflected, based on how your values are being tempered, right? So you become very creative in what sense? In all facets of life, right? And health wise, maybe you change certain things, the way you project your life. Maybe you think more about charity, about dharma. And then maybe you go into the world of business and entrepreneurship, where you build houses and whatnot, right? You create your dream life. All these are based on creativity. Your life will be seamless. Everyone around you would see you as someone who's lucky or someone who's highly intelligent, because you know things that they don't. Why? It's simple. Because you don't follow certain rules. You are creative, right? So assets, wealth, health, your sense of inclusiveness with the world, dharma, and all this seems a little bit higher than the other person because you are creative. Okay. Number two is identification. Since small, you will identify your values. Okay, you don't need people to tell you. Parents, siblings, aunties, uncles, the public circle, doesn't matter who. You would know what are your values. Okay, you will identify them. Okay, authenticity, honesty, determination, love, and all these things will come to you, and you will keep that very close to your heart. So that creates a kind of a protective shield against this, copying someone or living a life without being creative, right? It creates individuality within you. Okay, so that's the second one. The first is highly creative, synthesizing what's going on in life. Second is your identification. You identify since young what are your core values are. Okay, number three is very disciplined, very disciplined. In fact, almost regimentary, like in the military, right? Very disciplined people, because Saturn creates that, especially in the second house. It tells you that, okay, look, I've given you all the things, don't screw it up. Okay, you know what needs to be done exactly. There's no reason for you to go to plan B. Plan A is good, right? Follow that, don't skip. So that regimentary, that discipline, unshaken discipline will be there. Okay, your life will be so perfect in that sense. Okay, next is self-motivation, and also giving others too. A very natural way of putting things. Okay, people naturally gravitate towards you because you can easily motivate others. No big deal. It's very natural, and you are also a self-motivator as well. Last but certainly not the least is happiness and contentment. Saturn in the second gives a person truly a very balanced and confident life. Okay, it gives you a life, and when you wake up in the morning until you retire at night, you know exactly what needs to be done. So everything is completed on time, and that gives you huge amount of contentment. Happiness is naturally feeling peace inside, right? You're contented with yourself. So the fifth and the most important amazing thing that you'd have when Saturn is well placed in a unafflicted second house is happiness. Okay, so I hope this video is informative. If it is, please share with your friends and family, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Namaste.